Hey, morning everyone. Hope you're doing really well. Today is Thursday the 16th of May. Bitcoin has had quite an exciting little pump over the last, I don't know, 24 hours or so. We went from roughly, what was it, 62 to I think 65 and a half ballpark figures. And yeah, so there's lots of positivity in the market as usual, but you know, whether this is going to carry on or whether it's going to pull back again, you know, who knows. In all honesty, guys, it's a little bit irrelevant if you're looking at bigger picture. And listen, before I get into the video, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the new subscribers and supporters and commenters on the videos. Really, it's fantastic. I've been really enjoying having chats with you guys in the comments and what have you, so I really appreciate that. So let's get into it. A little bit update on the $1 a day sats. I got my $1 a day worth of sats just now for, what was it, oh god, I can't remember. Forgive me guys, these are all one take videos, so a little bit rough and ready and raw and all the rest of it. Let me just sort out the screen as well. I think it was 1,864, something like that. So it was yeah, it dipped into 1,900. There was when prices were down, we were getting a little over 2,000 sats. So now we're getting 1,800 and something. So yeah, so although prices are up, I'm getting, maybe hopefully you are too, getting less sats every day. So it's when we start thinking about our wealth in terms of sats and Bitcoin and accumulating, you know, that and thinking of building the stack up effectively rather than thinking of just, you know, fiat currency. In a weird way, it sounds weird, we want prices to be lower so we can accumulate more, because ultimately we know where the direction's heading. I won't digress too much into the $1 a day challenge. Have a look at the show notes, it's on there. I talk about it and I record exactly what the figures are, so I'll leave it there. Quick news updates. I mean, there's tons of news all the time, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick snapshot. El Salvador came out, has mined over the last 3 years since 2021 through their volcano thermal heating, whatever they've done, around about 474 Bitcoin. What's interesting is when you think back to 2021, probably when they started it, they would have, depends on when they started it exactly, and you know, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but obviously they would have gone through that, you know, effectively it sounds like they probably started at the peak and prices crashed then in 2022, so they were mining Bitcoin for, you know, 15,000, 16,000, all the value of, should I say. And what's interesting, and again, I know obviously they haven't mined 474 in one go straight away, but if you look at 474 at the bottom of the price when Bitcoin was at its lowest in 2022 at roughly, I don't know, $15,000, that would have equated to, just ballpark, and again these are ballparks, 7 million. That same 474 is now worth roughly 13 million. So not bad. So well done El Salvador, and it's again, yeah, it's a start. You know, they're building their sovereign wealth, and you know, they're going to do well. I do actually think it's going to be really interesting to see how El Salvador plays out over the next 20-30 years. What I always find incredible when you look back at the history of places like Hong Kong or Singapore, Hong Kong was just literally a fishing village. It was, you know, it was poor. It didn't have anything going for it. It was a poor fishing village. And then whenever it was, I think it was the 1970s, that my history is let me down, but I got a funny feeling because Hong Kong was a UK principality, or whatever you want to call it. And then obviously, when was it, in the 1990s, it was handed back to China. The mayor, or whatever you want to call it, of the time in Hong Kong, basically had this vision, and the vision was to make it a financial capital of the world. And within a 20-30 year time frame, Hong Kong was absolutely transformed, and that was all because of a very clear vision, a very clear mission, and a very clear focus. And they got the incentivization right. They got investment, and again, read into it to find out more. But they obviously pulled the right strings, mechanisms to encourage investment, encourage low taxation, and all of these things. And it's just incredible when you look back at Hong Kong, because we live in the now, and we always look into the future, but we often forget to look at history. And it's always worth looking back and going, and trying to put yourself in the shoes at that moment in time, thinking, there's no skyscrapers here. It's a crappy little fishing village, lots of poverty, nothing really good going for it, other than possibly its strategic location. And then within a very, very short, relatively short time frame, how it completely transformed. So don't think that something very similar cannot happen again. El Salvador, one of the countries that are leading the pack in terms of Bitcoin adoption for nation states. The legacy countries, including the UK, if we're not careful, we're taking that legacy for granted, and it doesn't always mean it's, we're going to be top of the pile. In many respects, the UK's fallen far from that perch a long time ago. So it's interesting. So I just want to shed some light to it, and bring your attention to that piece of news. So well done El Salvador for mining all those bitcoins. Another bit of news, again, which is quite interesting. The top G, Andrew Tate, he has made it public that he's fed up with the fiat system, fed up with corrupt governments, and he's opting out. He's buying $100 million of Bitcoin. Sounds like he hasn't done it yet, but it sounds like that's his intention. What I think is quite interesting is a couple of things. One, he's buying Bitcoin. That says to me, and who's to know whether he buys some other, dog coin or whatever, but I think ultimately that says to me he sees Bitcoin as a serious player. I mean, when you've got lots of money, you're not going to want to risk it on a meme coin, on a trend or whatever, or a technology that's competing with other technologies. And that, like I said, it's not to say he won't have skin in the game and other things, but it's quite poignant when you consider, for your own investments, to think, well, okay, hang on, nation states are buying Bitcoin. What are they called? Business. I'm trying to drive and talk and all the rest of it. It's actually quite difficult. Nation states are buying Bitcoin. You've got public limited companies buying Bitcoin, putting it on their balance sheets. You've got ETFs now. You've got BlackRock. You've got all these things. You've got big, well-known celebrities who are like Andrew Tate investing, putting their money into Bitcoin. And I go back to one of my previous videos. I was talking about, Bitcoin is going to be here, I said, for 1,000 years. I mean, who knows? A lot can happen in 1,000 years. But you get my point. It's going to be here for a long, long time, well past, our lifetimes. And there'll be intergenerational sort of wealth created that could be passed down from one generation to the next. So I think if that doesn't give you sort of confidence, not necessarily saying you like Andrew Tate or the top G, that's not about this, but it's just really interesting. And also the fact that he's got a lot of clout. He's got a big audience. He's got a lot of attention. So again, I think in terms of the Bitcoin space, it's quite positive. It helps spread the word, particularly for the younger guys, because I think often those younger guys, the younger guys can fall for the sort of short-term sort of mindset or thinking about, hi, how you doing? You all right? I'll come and see you in a sec. I'm just doing a quick call video thing. How you doing? You all right? Yeah.
This is my best time of day.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll let you carry
All right, I'll see you in a sec. Joys are doing one take videos. That's my mum. She's just turned up to say hello. So yeah, so I think it's really positive, not just the fact that it reinforces and hopefully gives you confidence that this is a good long-term play. It's the king. Bitcoin is the king. It's gonna have, you know, you're gonna be a lot safer in Bitcoin. Yes, you know, some will, you know, other projects will outperform short term, but I think ultimately long term this is the way to strongly think about things, and certainly to have the majority of any investment. But going back to the Andrew Tate, I think he's got obviously a huge audience, and a younger demographic audience who, you know, teenagers and all the rest of it, young guys, young girls, sort of look up to him. And hopefully, if he said he's not going to do his own crypto project or things like that. So again, really, really positive. Whether he does or not in the future, who knows? But at this moment in time, he says it's not. So the fact that he is talking about Bitcoin, is going to be supporting Bitcoin, going to be buying Bitcoin, hopefully can spread that message to the younger generation who may not have as much money to invest, and they're looking for those shorter term gains to, you know, 1,000x their money, put £1,000 in and make $1 million, or, you know, make 100,000. You know, crazy, you know, incredible returns, which can happen, but there's huge risks, and often lots of people do get burnt, and you know, it's very dangerous. So hopefully he can, you know, reinforce a longer term perspective, a long term mission, long term vision. Because again, it's not just, you know, yes, it's about, you know, making money and doing better for yourself and improving your life. That's really important for all of us. But equally, it's about sort of learning to be patient. I talked about that in one of my last videos. And having discipline in your life, and working hard. You know, whatever you achieve in life doesn't come easily, and that's everything, and investing is no different. Yeah, you've obviously got, you know, the person who rocks into a casino, you know, and makes a fortune. Luck does happen, chance does happen, but for most people, we've all got to work hard for whatever we get. And I think, you know, that's the type of messaging for younger people who are trying to make it in this world, not getting caught up into the social media, the glam, the bullshit, you know, all that type of crap that we see on social is really, really important. So yeah, let's hope the top G can, you know, really sort of spread some positivity. And a lot of his messages are positive, actually. And I think sometimes he gets given, you know, unfair representation. So I think, you know, I don't follow him hugely, but, you know, obviously it's hard to not see some of the bits and pieces, the video clips and all the rest of it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Obviously, he's still got his, you know, his personal sort of, you know, battles and court and all the rest of it. So again, you know, we'll see what pans out there. But aside from all that noise, ultimately, you know, I think it could be a positive thing for Bitcoin, and for people looking to look to, you know, to others to help shine the light on an alternative to the fiat system, that we all live in. So yeah, so that's interesting. So that was the top, a couple bits of news for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Yeah, let me know what you think about El Salvador, mining Bitcoin and adopting Bitcoin within their sort of currency, making it legal tender. Let me know what you think about the Andrew Tate situation with him buying 100 million worth of Bitcoin. Is that good? Is that bad? Let me know what you think. And let me know if you're joining me on the $1 a day Sats challenge. I think, it's going to be really interesting. Again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We're doing this for the next 10 years. We're going to be reviewing, saying, right, okay, that's interesting. What is that $1 worth now? That $1 that bought me today 1,800 and whatever Sats, what's it worth now? It's going to be interesting. And hopefully we'll see, again, it's hopefully showing people the way and educating and saying, it can be done. It can be done. You don't have to be thinking about buying a whole Bitcoin. You can't be just buying a small fraction and over time have an accumulative effect. That's very positive. So listen, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to go and say hi to my mum and my dad. I think they're there, and I'm just going to go grab a coffee with them. And then I've got some work to do. Have a great day. Really, really appreciate you tuning in. And I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow, hopefully. Take care.